Okay, my friends, so let's get some solutions to this first measures the center quiz, just goofing around with some data that I got. Okay, so these are 20 days that I taught my class and the times it took the door to get shut on me. So we're going to find the mean, the median, and the mode of the data. And I know we haven't really gotten into using Excel yet, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this data and I'm going to stick it into Excel just because I don't know, because I use Excel. I'm going to paste, okay, it gives me one paste option. Oh, there they are. I pasted them all as individual data points. It's weird that it pasted them in a row and not two rows, but whatever. That's all of them, right? Let me just check real quick. I'm going to highlight them all and then look down here. Yep, 20. Oh, this is a cool little thing. If you select a bunch of data in Excel, it gives you three things down here in this bottom corner. It tells you the average of the numbers, which is nice. That just gave us the answer to the first question. It also tells us how many there are, 20. And it tells us if you add them up, it sums to 377. I've used all three of those from time to time. We'll probably use them in here too. All right, but I'm going to do the commands here. Average. So to do the average of these numbers, it's actually just equals average, if I can spell it correctly, average. And then you select all the data and then close off the print. So the thing about functions in Excel, if you want to use Excel functions, type an equal sign first, then the name of the function you're going to use if the function has a name, and then you tell it the numbers by selecting them. We'll do that again with the median. So there's your average of 1885. Median. The median is similar. It's equals median. And what this does is it does the whole, puts the numbers in order and then finds the middle for you. And that tells us the median is 8.5. Oh, that's fun. That means that the two middle numbers, since there's 20, there's going to be two middle numbers, and they're different from each other. It must be that 9 and that 8 that I see right there. I see an 8 in the front and a 9 towards the back. It must be those. And then the mode equals mode. And I'm going to select all this data. And I'm going to close that off, and it's, oops, well, I guess that is the mode. I'll put the word mode over here. Okay, so there's our three measures. Now let's go back to the quiz. So we know the average is 18.885. This is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, gravity center. Okay, check that now. What percent of the original data is below the median we found in 2? Okay, so in 2, the median was 8.5. So I'm going to count all the numbers smaller than 8.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's 10 that are less, which means that's half, 50%. So there we go. That makes perfect sense. What percent of the original data is below the mean you found in number 1? Okay, so the mean was 18.85. So that's going to be, if it's okay with you, I want to count the ones that are actually bigger and then figure out what else there is. So 21's bigger, 120's bigger, 22 is bigger, 34 is bigger, 45 is bigger, and 40 is bigger. So 6 are bigger. That means 14 are smaller. That would be 70%. 70% for number 5. And then what percent of the data is below the mode you found in number 3? Okay, so the mode was 5. So the ones that are less are 1, 3, 4, and 1. So 1, 3, 4, and 1s, it's 4. So that would be 20%. So I got 50% for 4, 70% for 5, and 20% for 6. Wildly different, like I said here. And I said, how can all three of those have such wildly different percentages if they're all measuring quote unquote center? And the key really is the fact that I put center in quotes pretty much every time I used it on this quiz. So the idea of center is it means a typical data value. But because all three of those measures are measured in different ways, for example, one is a calculation, the average. So the average actually depends on the sum of the data. Well, that means if you've got, for example, in this data set, a large number like 120, that's going to contribute a whole lot to the sum, which means the larger that largest number gets, or conversely, the smaller that the smallest numbers get, the average is going to move towards those numbers. But think about what would happen to the median, for example, if we change that 120 to something like 1,020. It wouldn't change the median or the mode one bit. Wouldn't change them one bit. They would simply stay where they are because you're only changing one data point, which wouldn't affect the mode. And you're changing the most extreme data point, which wouldn't change the median. So the median, by definition, is the halfway point. So that percentage that you got in number 4 is always going to be 50% because by definition it has to be. The mean is going to move around depending on the relative sizes of the data. Not just the position, not just the ordering of them in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but the actual magnitude of how big the numbers are. And the mode, honestly, your mode, the mode's such a weird one, because simply counting how frequently something shows up doesn't tell us, is that something near the median or the average or somewhere far away from it, right? I mean, if I was exceptionally loud, for example, you might have a lot of 1s in this data set, which means the mode would be the smallest data value. And if that were the case repeatedly, that would mean that your answer to number 6 might be 0% because nothing would be less than the smallest number. So the mode really can be just the fact that it occurs the most often doesn't tell us anywhere about where it occurs, just that it occurs most often. So I look forward to hearing what you all said down here in number 7, and I hope this quiz helped. Be well!